All right. Good morning, kids. We're live. We're here. This is another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. How is everybody doing? I have my coffee. I'm trying to find myself in a good position here because I don't have a desk right now. But I was going to say, I have my coffee. I hope you have yours too. If you don't drink coffee, I don't know. You can drink something else. Tea, hot milk. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat in the morning. So, as I was saying, if you hear shifting and moving and other sounds, it's because I don't have a desk. As I mentioned in my stream yesterday, I'm in some temporary digs right now, so I don't really have the proper setup that I usually have where I could just be comfortable and have things where I need them to be and just be able to focus on what I want to say instead of making sure my microphone isn't falling on the floor or things of that nature. But before we start, of course, I want to say hello, as always, to all the folks listening to me on all the various platforms, if there are any. At this point, they've all been banned. I have no idea. But for those that are still unbanned and are still listening, hi, how are you? Hey, welcome. Thank you for watching. And hey, hi to all the folks on Bitwave. Hello to all the folks on the other platforms that I'm on, like Twitch, DLive, Periscope, YouTube, and I actually got Float working, it seems. So all the floaters, hey, what's up? You guys missed the stream yesterday, I guess. You can catch the replay on Bitwave. I have it there. You can also catch it on YouTube. It's archived there. Periscope, I don't know how long that's going to be archived because Twitter did announce that Periscope is going away. So I really don't know if if they migrate over. I don't know how that's going to work. But being Twitter, I don't care. Honestly, I really don't care. They're a trash platform. So illegitimately, yeah, he did win. Troll. He won illegitimately, so that's where we're at. And speaking of Biden, you know, there's plenty of stuff to talk about the nonsense that's coming out of the administration. Let's see. I have stuff lined up that I want to talk about here regarding that. But the latest and greatest is that Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, apparently was suspended permanently from Twitter because Twitter's afraid of the truth. The Gestapo continues. The stomping on free speech continues. The abuse of platforms continues. And the latest to be hit is Mike Lindell, apparently. So there's that. But in other news, in terms of abusing users, Twitter has introduced this new thing. I don't know if you guys heard about this yesterday, because this kind of happened during the stream. Well, I didn't talk about it during the stream, but it kind of happened yesterday, and I saw about this yesterday. They're introducing this new thing. It's called Birdwatch. And what it is, this is Twitter's own approach here to a, quote, community-driven approach to addressing misleading information. Essentially what it is, it's going to be a community. It's basically people on Twitter which can participate in this, and they can basically vote on whether something is true or not, which has got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Because if you see the garbage that is on Twitter and the stuff that people say on Twitter and tout it as fact, Twitter is fucked. If you want to talk about the community monitoring itself in that fashion. And I'm not sure why they thought this was a good idea. Because, I mean, Facebook did something similar. Okay, so Facebook has their own, quote, fact checkers that things can be brought to, and they can take a look at it, and they can fact check it, and they can see if it's, quote, factually accurate or not. And the problem with Facebook's approach is that it is a purely partisan group of people. You don't have any sort of representation of ideas, equal representation of ideas. You only have the representation of one idea, one ideology, which, if you're doing fact checking, those shouldn't even be in the equation. Okay, because the only thing that matters about fact checking is the actual factual truth. Which goes to show you, like I was mentioning yesterday in the stream, about WAPO's approach to Biden's fact checking, which isn't even doing any fact checking at all. So why would Biden continue? You say in chat, Troll is saying that lots of people were hoping Biden to continue what Trump did to curtail tech companies. Why would anyone expect that? I had no expectation of Biden doing that. Why would anybody do that? They protected his son, Hunter, from a truthful article about his shenanigans. Why on God's earth would he want to do anything to disrupt big tech? That doesn't even make sense at all. I mean, Trump barely did anything when it came to that. Barely did anything. So I don't understand why anyone would even consider that. But I've never heard that, honestly. I've not heard anyone, especially on the conservative side. I haven't heard anyone on the conservative side saying, oh, we're hoping that Biden is going to continue what Trump did when it comes to tech. No. Nobody on the right even remotely thought that Biden was going to do anything when it came to that. There's no reason for him to do so. There absolutely is not. But anyways, as I was saying, the issue with how Facebook approaches it is that they have a purely ideological way of dealing with it. They have the little group of, quote, fact checkers that they call fact checkers, but they're just a leftist group of people with their own personal biases and agendas, of course. And you have other platforms that are community moderated, but those communities don't have the same kind of burden. They don't have the same kind of burden that Twitter does, in the sense that Twitter is the public square now, and a lot of these smaller communities are not. So that kind of community approach is going to be a failure in my view. Also, it's a setup. It's a setup because, for example, I can't participate in Birdwatch. Any conservative that has had any sort of flag on their account for any reason, even if there's no reason given by Twitter itself, in the week from January 6th to the inauguration or so, it wasn't just 1 week, but in the period of time between January 6th and January 20th, it was about 2 weeks. My account almost daily was restricted. So even if I want to participate in fact checking, Birdwatch would not allow me to do so. And it's the same for a bunch of conservatives. So this is just a dumb way for Twitter to try and say, hey, we're not going to put our thumb on the scale. We're going to let the community moderate this. But at the same time, they already put their thumb on the scale because they're purging conservatives left and right. They're flagging conservatives left and right. They're flagging all these people for no reason. Just because you don't want to hear about election fraud, for example, which happened. Ban me Twitter, ban me YouTube, fuck off. It happened. But we're in that situation now where Twitter is going to pretend like there's some sort of objective platform moving forward. Yeah, right. Now I'm Colonel Sanders. No, it's just ridiculous. This whole birdwatch thing is just dumb from inception to practice, and I don't see it. Being successful in any shape, way, or form. It's just not going to work. Well, you can just post in chat what you think is next, Yeah, the whole queue thing is a mess. But you're reading monopolist blogs. They were hoping those hearings on Facebook, Google, etc. will result in a lawsuit. There have been a couple lawsuits, though. Actually, I know in Europe there have been a couple lawsuits filed, and Google has been pretty heavily fined. Well, I'm 10K what? I don't. You want 10K because you know what's next? I don't have 10K of anything, so I don't even know what you're asking for. There have been some lawsuits filed, and relating to Google, there have been you have these Google employees. Let's see if I can find that news item. Here we go. Google workers reportedly forming a global union alliance called Alpha Global, with the goal of holding Google and parent company Alphabet accountable, as the company is acting in a way nearly entirely unchecked by governments. And I mean, that's a interesting idea, I guess. I just don't know how that works in practice. So this should have been done way sooner, first of all. If you're going to have employees or workers or anybody even outside of Google forming a alliance of some sort, a union, I mean, this shouldn't be unique to Google, first of all. This stuff should have happened decades ago. That people that work for big tech would hold their companies accountable. I mean, I can even tell you myself, in my university days, I told people about the dangers of Google, but nobody ever wanted to listen to me. They were like, oh, well, they're giving you free email. So apparently because they're giving me free email, I should just take my pants off and let them ass rape me, I guess. It's ridiculous, the logic that's in there. So I don't know. I mean, I like the idea. I think it's not a bad idea to have some sort of formal organization that holds Google accountable and Facebook accountable and Twitter accountable. But honestly, I'm just not sure how it works in practice. Like, what I would like to see what comes of that. I'm going to keep my eye on this, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully something good will come out of that. I don't know. If something good comes out of it, great. That'll be amazing. That Google has to start trying to stay on the straight and narrow, so to speak. So I don't know. I mean, there's that. Other news that's coming out of the administration is, and this one I'm gonna try to say this with a straight face because it's difficult to even say with a straight face if you actually put your mind on it and think about it a little bit. But a representative from Congress tweeted that Hunter Biden is being considered, trying to say this with a straight face, for head of DEA. Okay. So let me see if I get this straight. A guy who I can't even. I mean, how can anybody even think about that and just not laugh at the insanity of that? So Hunter Biden, this guy there's pictures of him with underage children, so he's a pedophile. You know, underage children in lingerie, in fishnets, okay, in Victoria's Secret style lingerie. There's photos of him falling asleep with a crack pipe. There's photos of him snorting coke off the ass of Asian hookers. This guy, he's head of DEA material. Of course. I mean, obviously, he's the obvious choice. With all his experience with drugs, I mean, maybe he is a good choice. I don't even know at this point. This is a fucking nightmare. And I hope the people that voted for Biden happy with what they're getting. This is but Trump's not tweeting mean tweet. But a pedophile who snorts crack off the ass of an Asian hooker being head of DEA, yeah,